Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. Colin, I'm excited. I'm excited for this podcast. You might be like, why? Why are you excited, Matthew? Our team is 0-2, and we have no hope.
You're wearing green today. I'm proud of you.
I knew you were gonna wear black, and I had a dark shirt on, my On3 shirt.
Yeah.
On, and I was like, you know what, Colin's gonna come in here wearing something dark, so I gotta wear green to try to
It's for the funeral, but yeah.
Try to pep this place up a little bit more. But I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
About the podcast, great.
About life,
Life, great.
Your leg good?
If you want to keep going down the list until we get to the team, it's going to be bad when I get to the team. But about life, we're
so your leg's good now. You're 100%.
Yeah, the rash is coming back on my stomach again, so we're trying to figure that out. And it's also coming back on the part that was infected, that did not have the rash. But it's okay because it's not as big. Okay. I did have a dream last night though that it spread to my whole leg and I had to get it amputated, and that was crazy because I thought it was real.
It's probably got to your brain at this point.
Yeah, I'm just telling the universe, please take my leg.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. Real quick before we get started, two things. First, I do want to shout out Home Field. Use our code 15% off of your first use, 10% off every use after that. Very much still go mean green. Basketball season's around the corner, for y'all wanted to get in the spirit. Still tailgating, still having fun, all that stuff. So Home Field is the first announcement. Code MGREEN for 15% off your first order, 10% off every order after that. Yes, it's on the screen where Colin's pointing.
God, I'm really bad at that.
Secondly, it's okay. Secondly, I counted up the FIU pick'em because we didn't do that in our post game.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sorry, FIU pick'em. It was you had a spread of North Texas minus 31.5. I said no. You said yes, so I won that.
That is crazy.
You had rushing yards of over under 111.5, which I said was a good line, but I took the over. That was correct as well. So there's 2 for me. Receiving yards from players other than Jamori Macklin was my prop. 120 yards. Colin said under. I said over. It was over. So there's 3. And over under Phil Hill and Logan Wilson tackles 14.5. Colin said under. I said over. It was under. So there's Colin's point.
You were leading by 2.
We decided to not give a point for the predictions because we both had North Texas winning by 3 scores. Well, I had by 3 scores. Colin had by 4, 5 scores. But
5?
You had 49-17, 32 points.
Dang, yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if that's 5. I can't do math.
I mean, it technically it's 4 because 8 times 4 is 32. But
yeah, you can make it 5 in there. A couple field goals.
Regardless, we didn't count it. We didn't count it. So we said one of us has to at least be kind of close.
Yeah,
and not 24 points off. So the updated scoreboard for the pick'em: Bruni 5, Colin 3. So there you go. All right. Let's get into this little preview.
Wait, quickly, because someone asked me, we are doing like buff bald, right? Like you gotta shine that thing up, right?
I mean, yeah, I don't really know how to do that, but yeah, we can figure it out.
I mean, like it means you take like a razor that you shave your face with, and you start shaving your head with it, and then you hit it with. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure. Okay.
Oh, I didn't. You act like I have like what are those things that they use to mop the floor?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'd take like a cloth, like a rag that I use outside, and just like just kind of hit it.
Yeah, I'd do something like that. We can do something like that.
All right.
Maybe we'll figure it out. We'll figure out a way to do it in person. I think.
That's definitely the kicker.
That's the goal. So we'll figure that out. All right. Real quick. Look back at FIU. Are you feeling better, worse, or the same as you were feeling on Sunday?
I guess I feel better in the sense that I think North Texas has a chance against La Tech. You made a good point in the last podcast. For those of you who didn't watch out of anger, that if you don't turn the ball over 3 times and have to go for it on your own, 30 or 20 or whatever it was, they probably win this game. When you fumble it and throw 2 picks, it's hard to win any game. Yeah, and pick 6, it's hard to win any game. So I don't think it's like a convincing win, but I think they win that game if they don't turn the ball over. So since it seems like things that shouldn't happen every game, I have hope going into La Tech. Now I don't know if it's a lot of hope, but it's hope.
Yeah, and the only pushback that I saw from the last podcast was people saying he will get fired if he goes like 0-12 this year. He will get fired if he goes, has back-to-back bad seasons and stuff.
I think as much as I don't even care if they wanted to do it, I don't think they can do it. You're
Yeah,
paying this
I
guy a
don't.
lot of money.
Yeah, I just don't think North Texas is not in a situation to where really no team in the country is comfortable with ever firing their coach after 1 year. Even two is pushing it because you pay coaches, how much you can afford them, right? For your scale, right? A&M paid Jimbo $1 billion, where their payout is X amount. And so everybody has different payouts, but you pay a coach the most you can to attract them. And so just because it might not seem a lot of money when in comparison to Texas or A&M or whoever else, like it's a lot of money for North Texas if
Yeah.
you're firing a coach after 1 year, because then you have to pay them out for multiple years, and then you have to hire a new coach and pay them. It's a mess. That it's not happening. But that's the only pushback that I saw in the last podcast. I do want to talk about Eric Morse's press conference. His Monday press conference, I believe it was, not Tuesday, right?
I think so.
I think it was Monday.
Press conference
Uh,
this week.
yeah, he went to the podium, spoke, talked for a bit, and I mean, what did he really say? Like, what were our takeaways, I guess, from that?
My personal takeaway is that it just seems like at first when he's very direct, right? Like he just kind of tells you how
But
it
like his
is.
answers, like what did he say?
Right.
Before we
I'm
get
getting
to
to
his.
that.
Okay, go
Oh, I
ahead.
guess okay. I see what you're saying. I
Before
guess
we
the only
get
thing would
to
be quarterback. The only thing that he really said
yeah,
on the depth chart, it said that Stone Earl. Though for those who didn't see, they released a depth chart. Stone Earl was listed as 1, Chandler Rogers 2. Um, Stone Earl's name was the only one that was bold. He said in the press conference, however, that he's not sure who he's going to roll out there, but he doesn't want to have like this quarterback carousel. He wants to stick to one guy, but he doesn't know who that guy is yet. So that would be my only real actual takeaway.
does that frustrate you?
Just give me a depth chart that says or. Like don't give me these
No,
mixed
does it
signals.
frustrate you that he's still in between on quarterbacks?
Oh yeah, the cramp thing is to me like BS. I
Okay,
don't.
expand on that. He said
Yeah.
that.
So during halftime, he said that Stone Earl cramped up and that Chandler Rogers came in with no reps and basically played a lot better than Stone Earl. I mean, he
Yeah.
didn't say that, but that's what happened. And for him not to say that Chandler Rogers is going to start, we're going to roll Stone out there after throwing basically what should have been 3 picks and a fumble. I'm not sure how you can. And then he talked up Chandler Rogers. He was like, yeah, he came in, he played a lot of games, has a lot of experience, did a lot of great things. And then you're saying all that and saying, oh, we still don't have our guy. And to me, it's like, it's not that hard anymore. Like everyone saw. So I think it's putting Stone in a really bad position if he doesn't have a bounce back game. Like if he has a bad game this week or not a great game, it's going to look really tough.
And if it is a battle at this point, why not just start Rodgers?
Right.
And go back
Start the guy who's hot.
to yeah, like if we're gonna play in the hot hand or doing whatever we want to do, like play Rodgers first, and then you can plug in Earl if things go wrong. Because we've seen Earl have 2 chances now, and he hasn't been good enough in either one. Why not give Rodgers a chance? Like we're rehashing an old debate. We're rehashing the debate we've had the past month, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or I guess ever since Earl was named the quarterback. But it's never felt comfortable for Morris, and it's still just makes no sense because Rodgers, in my opinion, is just a better quarterback. And I think everybody at this point agrees that Rodgers is a better quarterback, except Eric Morris.
Yeah.
And Eric Morris's opinion is the only one that matters. So, there it is. Take that for what it's worth.
You better show us something.
He has to show us something. But again, if my belief rating is quite low right now in Stone Row.
Yeah.
It's always been low though, and I don't want to act like I am some sort of person who can predict the future on the football field, but common sense told you that a guy entering the fall as the third string quarterback was not going to be a great quarterback.
Yeah.
So that was always my argument. Anything else there? I know at a certain point he pointed out, got to have guys buying in, all that stuff again, that rehashing that.
Yeah, so that stuff is starting to concern me because we keep hearing it. Like, what does that mean to you? Because
Well, it means that it's a coaching change.
It's a
There's an
coaching change, but I don't
overhaul.
feel like it needs to be something that needs to be like
Harped on.
I guess the why it bothers me is because they were all so confident going into the season. And then all of them, players, coaches, everyone's good. We're all great. This is going to be
Yeah.
amazing. We're going to be, we're going to push for top half of the conference or whatever they said. You lose 2 games, you face some adversity, and it's like we have guys not buying in. We have guys not buying in. We need guys to buy into what we're doing.
How it goes.
And it just seems like
Losing. I don't think I can explain to people. I don't even think athletes understand how impactful losing is.
but this team the difference to me though is that this team's lost before.
This isn't the same thing though. This is when a lot of these players, let's say they committed to Seth Luttrell and that coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Losing with the coach that you picked is one thing. Losing with the coach that came in when you're year 2, year 3, year 4, whatever it is very different.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I think it's one thing to say we're going to be able to overcome adversity. It's one thing as a player to be like, hey, I'm going to rock with this through thin and thick for a year and then, figure it out. Give them a year. When things do go bad, it's easy for fans or media and stuff to say, mental toughness, just stick it out, give it your all here and there. That's easy to say, but the dedication that it takes to be good at football, to be good at any sport, but then obviously football, where it is such an effort-based game, is high. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, it's very, very common to see teams kind of wilt a little bit after a couple losses. And is that good? Like, I'm not saying like that's not a good thing for Eric Morris and this coaching staff. I'm not saying that they should be excused for how this team's playing, but this was always on the table to me. It was on the table that this team could lose a couple games and potentially with the new coaching staff. I don't want to say like falter, but things start to snowball in a
Yeah.
sense. And so
That's fair.
I don't know. It's just how things go with new coaches. If it goes bad, it goes bad. And that is concerning. But I'm still of the mindset that we just have to rock with this year, just get through it, and then build for the future. So
Here's another thing, another takeaway that I just thought of. He was asked by, I think it was Brett. This team was a really good rushing team last year. Why is that not being able to be replicated this year? Morris said that he didn't watch anything from last year, and that we're talking about this year.
mhm.
What are your thoughts on that?
On him not watching or him not wanting to be
Like
last
just
year?
the fact that they're not able to replicate anything in terms of the rushing game of
I go
last year.
back to what I said before about this being just a different team, a different offense, and
Yeah,
he has to stick with what he does.
yeah,
Thick and thin, the fact that this roster doesn't make a lot of sense for what he wants to do is
hmm
still a problem, and we predicted that coming into the year that it would be a problem to have a team that just came from running the ball 55% of the time to throwing the ball 55% of the time. That's a big change for this team. So, yeah, I don't make too much of that. They have good running backs, but they couldn't block anybody against Cal.
that's
Against
true.
FIU, it was much better, but at the end of the day, even if Luttrell was the head coach here, I think they would have problems moving the ball consistently. And I mean, they moved the ball against FIU. Give the offense some
Got
credit
the
there.
moved ball on them as well.
They just turned the ball over 3 times and couldn't convert 2 fourth downs. So they only punted twice. I told you that before we got on here.
Yeah,
I do want to talk about so you were getting into it before we got into the nitty gritty, the general feel
yeah,
of Eric Morris right now, because I think it is a precursor to how we feel about the program at this moment. And all I'll say is that the vibes are not great right
yeah,
now.
yeah. And I think that's kind of where I was getting to on the buy-in comments, is that it just kind of seems like everything is down right now,
Mhm.
and that there's not a lot to grasp onto. Um, because I feel like through these 2 games there aren't really any positives. Like if Stoner looked great but they lost, it's like, oh, we still have a really good quarterback.
Mhm.
Or like if the running backs were doing running back things, or if the receivers were, getting a lot of points. But right now we have a team that can't tackle, gives up like 300 yards on passing and rushing a game, and we don't have a quarterback. So it just feels really, really bad. And I feel like that's taking a toll, I guess.
But even in how Eric Morris answered the questions,
Yeah,
right?
it seems I don't want to sound rude.
Because
Almost
we
like he's
don't.
tired of it.
Yeah,
Like what like and people can comment if they think I'm wrong here, but like while he's answering questions, he's like taking sips of water, like in between words and stuff like that.
yeah.
And it's just like very, short. Not short like Seth Luttrell, but just like kind of like, like I don't know why you're asking this.
The thing is, we've been sold on the past however many months of Eric Morris of him being the anti Seth Luttrell.
Right. Yeah.
Right? That was our whole thing was this is gonna be very different from the offensive schematics to his and also I know this. I know his approach to preparation. I know his approach to recruit. I know his approach to a lot of things are very different from Seth Luttrell.
Hmm.
So that's the same. But now we're seeing how people respond to losses, especially as a new coach. Like this does remind me how Seth was early in his career, where it was very much like, just short answers, being like kind of not sarcastic, but almost snarky to a degree.
Yeah.
And so it does start to stack up. But even beyond that, it feels like a coach that knows he doesn't have the answers that he wants.
Yeah.
And that might be the more concerning part. And so when you look at this team, as far as, and I mentioned before, the vibes aren't great. It's like all the things you said about the defense, the offense, question marks, the players maybe not buying in as much as we hoped they would. All of this is just like, man, do we really think this team can beat La Tech? Like, do we really think this team can win 4 games this year?
Well, that's when it comes back to you said I think it was last podcast. You said La Tech's the most important game of the season now because it is.
If you don't beat La Tech,
You're not winning a game.
I don't know who you're beating
Yeah.
because, like,
ACU, I guess, but
who?
ACU.
Oh, Abilene Christian. Okay, yes, Abilene Christian. It's the vibes are off right now, and this is where when you get a new coach, we can make fun of a guy like Will Hardy when he was at Charlotte, or the now Charlotte head coach, who I'm forgetting, the big guy who said, y'all picked us last in here. Um, those guys. You can look at a lot of different types of head coaches, but if they're losing or if they're taking over a tough spot, either they're experienced or they kind of have a certain spunk to them,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel like Eric Morris quite was ready to lose at this moment. And so he doesn't have that spunk to him. He's not ready to lose. And
Maybe not lose, but lose against the competition he's faced
yeah, and
thus
he
far.
shouldn't be happy to lose. I'm not saying he should be, but like
Yeah.
the press conference was very much given off like stop talking to me. I just want to go bury my head in some film. And that's not how this works
Yeah.
at North Texas. Like at any FBS program, you can't just bury your head in the film and work. You have to go out, build a community, talk to fans, talk to media,
Here's a question.
good or bad.
So obviously Seth took over a 1-11 team.
Yeah.
That team was devoid of talent except for a freshman Mason Fine who got injured halfway through the season or whenever it was.
Yeah.
Is it unfair to compare Morris's start to Seth's start?
I don't think it's unfair, but I do almost think Seth was in a better spot because he had no expectations.
Right.
And you could pitch that pretty easily to a team. So I don't have the schedule in front of me. I don't remember how that 2015 season went
I'll get it up while you
chronologically
talk. Yeah.
as far as like game goes. But if Seth Luttrell in that 2015 season started off with 2 losses like this, I don't think people would have batted an eye. Right?
Yeah, I mean they lost that was 2016 actually.
I know they lost to was it Florida?
Yeah, I guess the
I
difference
remember
is that you kind of gave SMU a game. They lost 34-21. They destroyed Bethune-Cookman. They
No,
lost
the
32
SMU game was not a game. I remember that game.
34-21.
It wasn't. I mean, in theory, it was a game, but I remember being at that game. That game
They
never
beat
happened.
Rice in double overtime. They beat Marshall. They beat Army.
What was the first 3 games of the year?
SMU lost 34-21. Bethune-Cookman win 41-20. Florida 32-0. And if you go to the 4th game, it was 42-35 over Rice.
Okay, so 3 games in. Again, I just don't think expectation-wise there was pressure on Latrell to win year one, like there
Yeah.
is Eric Morris, and that's why I've been trying to temper expectations over the past month, pretty much. Like even though I predicted them to go 7-5, so maybe I'm part of the problem, but I think when what we saw from Cal, I immediately went back to, okay, we have to watch this year because they're not winning games this year, and that's fine because that's not what a coaching change is about. So that's where it's like you can compare it. Obviously, Seth Latrell had Jeffrey Wilson on that team. Did he have Keyshawn McClain on that team?
Yeah.
Some good players across the board. I'd have to go back and look. Was it like Andy Flushy type guys? So I would argue there's probably more proven talent on that team Seth took over.
Yeah.
And then he brought in,
Jalen Guyton.
no, as the 2016 season, he brought in the quarterback from Alabama. He had Mason Fine.
Yeah, Morris. Yeah, Alec Morris.
Yeah, Alec Morris. Thank you. So, yeah, I just don't. I think from an expectation standpoint, after a couple of losses, like after starting the year 1 and 2, that team was probably like, oh, this is normal. This is fine. We'll bounce back here. Now this team is 0 and 2, and it's like the sky is falling.
Yeah,
and that's where the difference is to me.
that's
It's
true.
just a hard situation. It's a really hard situation. I don't want to make excuses, but I don't envy him for taking over in this spot. Okay, La Tech.
Yep.
La Tech.
La Tech.
2-1 overall. Wins over FIU and Northwestern State. The win over FIU I watched in depth in
FIU had 4 passing yards in that game.
Yeah, FIU had 4 passing yards. FIU was up in the fourth quarter. La Tech had to make a drive late to win it. La Tech outgained FIU substantially. Probably outplayed FIU substantially, but missed field goals, didn't take some opportunities and almost lost to FIU. But they didn't. They didn't lose to FIU. So we can give them a little bit of credit there. And last year they did lose to FIU. I think it was triple overtime lost to them. So we're looking at a team that is probably about as good as FIU this year, maybe a little bit better, in my opinion. Then they played at SMU, and I watched that game like on YouTube TV. We got the quad box.
Yeah.
That was one of the games in my quad box that I had on there. And SMU went up 31-0 in the first half at halftime. And then they just kind of stopped scoring. So, I don't know how much to take of that, but La Tech hardly rushed the ball for any yards. They threw the ball fairly well with Bachmeier, but they weren't able to beat SMU. So 38-14 loss to SMU, and then come back and beat Northwestern State 51-21 at home. Two Louisiana teams. That's not that far from each other, Northwestern State and La Tech. So are you concerned with this game? I know coming into the year, we were like, North Texas should probably win on
We made our
on the
thumbnail
road.
last week to say blowout time, and it was not that. I mean, I'm not confident going into the game. Spoiler alert, I have them winning the game because in my mind, if they don't, then it's like really like what game are we ever going to be competitive in? So I don't feel good about picking them to win, and we'll get into the score and stuff later, but it's like you're playing a team that beat FIU and has always given you problems in the past, and it's not a home game. So
their passing game has been really, really good. I mentioned that they outgained FIU, and I probably undersold them. They had 28 first downs to FIU's 8.
Yeah.
Like
they average 228 passing yards a game, 170 yards rushing.
Yeah, and they had 333 passing yards against FIU and 241 against SMU. So it's very much with Bachmeier. And I want to give a shout out to Smoke Harris, who I think is one of the better receivers in the entire conference, the entire American Conference. Keeping him from the portal was a really big key for this team. So they have a star receiver, in my opinion. They have a good quarterback, and their defense did a lot better against FIU than North Texas did.
Yeah.
The total for this game in Vegas right now is at 69.
It's so high, man.
Do we think North Texas can hit 35 points? Because that's probably what it will take to win this game. You're going to need 5 touchdowns to win this game. And I think it's possible. But at the same time, I remember that Cal game.
Thing is, I don't know because FIU hung 46 and they could only put 12 up on La Tech. Granted, they had
Exactly.
four passing yards and they probably didn't have their best game. But it's either that North Texas's defense is really bad or FIU improved a significant amount in a week or two.
2 weeks, yeah.
I mean, shoot, they didn't even score against Maine. They put 14 points up against Maine.
I know.
So I'm going to have to lean toward the fact that FIU's offense isn't good. And we're going into Ruston against a better defense.
Yeah, I can't get too much deeper into the weeds of La Tech, but we'll get to our pick'em later on. I do want to get back to the last thing before we do talk about our pick'em is the importance of this game for North Texas.
It's the biggest game of the season, Bruni.
Biggest game.
This is truly the gauge.
Truly.
Like we saw FIU. We were like, this really sucks, but they probably could have won. They probably could have won. You do it. You could have won on paper maybe.
Yeah.
And then you lose against Cal really bad. This La Tech game is everything. Because if you go through the schedule outside of Abilene Christian, who arguably probably isn't that much worse than FIU, maybe better, who knows?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to beat like Tulsa. That was like a fence game for us. That's a loss.
They're all losses. Look, the spread for every single game the rest of the year after Abilene Christian is going to be like North Texas is going to be underdogs.
Like Navy. It's going to be like 14 points Navy.
There is just no world in which North Texas loses this game. And I'm looking at the rest of the season, or we go through the rest of the season and they somehow pick up 4 wins.
Yeah.
This is like in the movies where like the bad guy has like the sword at the guy's chest, but the guy's like holding it off.
Yeah.
And
it's cutting
like
his hands
closer. Yeah, it's like getting closer, and you're like, oh, the hero better do something here. You better kick the sword away or do it. And that's always when something happens. The somebody like comes with a truck and like hits the villain or something. Well, we need that truck to come in and hit the villain, because if not, the sword's going to go right through their neck, and I think the season's over. Like, we're done. I don't know what we're doing on this podcast the rest of the year. We might just talk basketball if they lose this game. But there's nothing to look forward to this season. And again, I want to repeat, I'm not okay with that, but I realize the situation that it's hand.
We can't do anything about it. Nobody can do anything about it.
There was nothing Eric Morris could have done this year. Now, sure, it could, in theory, in 2 years we could look back on this being like, see, we knew from day one, that he wasn't going to be able to do anything.
Hindsight's 2020, so
which I think that's fair. But at this point, we have to give them the benefit of the doubt of saying this roster is not good enough. This scheme does not fit any of the personnel on hand, and the truth is probably that a not unsubstantial group of players potentially could be very well unhappy if you lose 3 straight games to start the year.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I just danced around that in a really, really creative way, but yeah. So that I'm just like, you lose 3 straight games. I don't know where the buy-in factor is, and that might be unfair. I don't want to put that on the coaching staff or anything like that. I'm just saying that's what comes with coaching staff changes.
Yeah.
In any spot across the country. So, with all that being said, we have to pray and hope that North Texas wins this game in Ruston.
If they win the game, are they still going to get 4 games? Like that?
So, look, if they win against La Tech, I think there are other teams on the schedule that they can win against. Like, very much. We talked about the Navy and Temple games. Neither one of those teams are good. Again, North Texas is not good, but those teams are also not good. We're getting into territory of bottom 25 teams playing each other.
Navy only lost to Notre Dame by 42 or 41.
I watched that game.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that North Texas loses by less than that.
Look, they were awful. Navy was awful against them.
I know.
Navy plays Memphis tonight. We'll see if Memphis blows them out or not. If Navy hangs with Memphis tonight, then maybe we have to reconsider that. But I'm just saying, La Tech, Abilene Christian, Navy, Temple. If you beat La Tech and you beat Abilene Christian, you're 2-2. Going into Navy Temple stretch where I think you go 1-1. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you go 1-1, you go to 3-3. The rest of the schedule is you'll lose to Tulane, Memphis, UTSA, SMU. All right, you'll drop to 3-7. Then you have Tulsa and UAB, and UAB is not a good team either right now. I don't believe. Let me double check their
UAB lost to Georgia Southern, so yeah.
Yeah, by 14. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I was gonna say they had struggled. UAB not a good team right now, and Tulsa. I'm trying to remember Tulsa's. Yeah, they got blown up by Washington. They blew out Arkansas Pine Bluff. So, regardless, those are two teams that I think they could win one of those games. So then there's the path to 4 wins, which is crazy because it sounds like
the
the path to 4
4
wins is so sad.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the situation we're right now. If this team ends the year with 4 wins, is it a win?
I guess from where we are, yeah. From where we are
right now, where we are sitting
because
at the bottom of the mountain.
I don't, and to kind of defend Eric Morris for a second here, I don't think you put any coach in this situation and they have a different outcome. Like
I'm sure if you put like some,
I mean, with the same exact players, is what I mean. Like they don't bring in different players. I think it's going to be pretty close to this type of outcome. Like you're not gonna beat Cal. FIU obviously I think could have been a win, but I think it's still the same type of struggles where I don't think anybody predicted that the talent gap would be so stark.
Here's the thing, Colin. Do you believe that if Chandler Rogers played the entire FIU game, they win?
I do. That's why I said. Well, I guess that is a difference. I guess that is a difference.
I think there's a way you could get to 5-6 wins.
But I think you still give up 30 points to FIU.
And I agree with you that it's a tough situation, but they haven't handled it great.
Agreed. I agree with
that.
We've
shot them a lot of bail. We are here as the Eric Morris defenders. We are blockading. We are blockading the North Texas fans from attacking him.
Yeah.
But we have to admit as well, which we have, they haven't handled this the best.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Can you
this La Tech game's everything.
Can you rally the troops?
Yeah.
Can you rally the troops one time to beat La Tech? Because if you beat La Tech, you have incremental, buy-in to where more and more, maybe you get 2 more players bought in, so on and so forth. You just start building, and then you beat Abilene Christian at home in front of their parents or whatever. You have a family day or something, and then boom, just slowly build it. Then you win one of the next 2. You're 3-3. You get buy-in. You just go from there. This game means everything. Everything for this team if this team is going to win 4 games this year. And I know that's not the standard at North Texas to win 4 games, but damn it, that's the situation we're in right
now. Let's talk 2 hypotheticals real quick before we move on to pick them.
Okay.
First hypothetical. Stone Earl has a similar game. Those 2 picks, North Texas loses the game.
And we don't see Rogers?
And we see Rogers too late.
I mean, I'm just going to come on here yelling the same way I did last time.
Okay.
I'm just going to come on here saying I don't understand what you're looking at. Then I will be very, very pissed because you've lost the game twice because
you
can't see what is right in front of you.
Yeah.
So,
second hypothetical. They win, but it's like by 3 points. Is a win in this situation?
Oh, yes. A win is a win, Colin. I thought you were going to say they win, but,
like they win. They win. Rogers doesn't come in, but Stone still looks good. Like, I mean, it's close. Like, really close. Like, how confident are we feeling?
I don't care.
You don't care. You just want to win.
Win the game, Colin. We need a win. We are 0-2.
That's what I was asking.
North Texas is 0-2 with a loss to FIU on its resume right now. Just win a game, please. For the love of God, win a game. Mm-hmm. All right, pick them.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I have 1.
Oh, I have 2. So I got my 2. I'll go.
Go ahead.
Speaking of Stone Earl, over under 1.5 picks for Stone Earl.
Sheesh. Under
4 picks through 2 games.
Thank you for that. I'm going under because I think if he throws one early, I think they bring Rogers in.
didn't account for that in my head.
There you go.
Well, I'm gonna go over as if he plays the whole game until a cramp happens.
Okay.
Second one, over under 183.5 rushing yards allowed.
183.5 rushing yards allowed.
Yes, they average 292 right now.
Yeah, but La Tech is more of a passing team than a rushing team. That's the hard part for me.
And they still average 170 yards rushing a game.
A lot of that probably came last week against Northwestern. I can't bring myself to take an under with the Texas rushing defense prop, so I'm gonna take an over.
All right, I'll go under on that one. I'm gonna pray and hope that this gets better.
That is disgusting. Okay, my first one, I'll come up with the second one off the top of my head. First one is more rushing yards, Stone Earl or Chandler Rogers.
Ooh, I like that one. What was it last week?
It was like 60 something for Earl, 49 for Rogers.
You have to assume a couple things here. Is Rogers even going to play?
He better play. What? Rogers is going to play.
If he plays, that means we're playing bad. So
Does it?
Yes.
Or just Stone Earl's playing bad. And
I'm going to say Stone gets more because I feel like he has to scramble more.
You're saying Earl?
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I'll take Rogers. I think this is the game Rogers comes in. Maybe I'm just foolishly holding on to something that doesn't exist, but
yeah, it definitely exists. I'm just trying to gauge if it's going to happen or not.
I'm holding on to Rogers. Please, coming in
Iron
and
fist,
saving us. I had one, but it's kind of similar-ish to yours, so I don't really
swap it out.
I mean, I'll just go North Texas interceptions over under 0.5.
Like, are we picking them off?
Does North Texas get an interception?
Looking at this guy's stats. No, we don't.
Bachmeier against FIU had one interception. Against SMU, I think he had at least one. I remember watching. He had one. So he had one against both FIU and
well, he's not even their leading quarterback. So
yes, he is. What are you talking about?
Apparently their leading passer is Cardell Williams.
Did they play somebody else in this Northwest?
Holy crap. I'm sorry. I was clicked on Tulsa. I was really confused. That made no sense to my brain. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
2 picks?
No, 1 pick. Just one.
No, I know, but he has 2 picks.
Yeah, he has 2 picks.
I'm going to go.
Think about the shaved head, Colin, if you're wrong.
I know, but I also have to take some chances here. I'm going to go under 0.5.
I wanted the under there initially, but it's a good pick. I was hoping you flipped it. All right. Predictions.
Yeah, I'll go 38-35 North Texas.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, he says.
38-35 North Texas. I'll go Colin.
Oh no, you're wearing green. You can't do this. You're wearing green, Bruni. You can't do this. I'm the one wearing black.
I don't think they can stop anybody. And I just don't think Stone Earl can do it. I don't think
Chandler Rogers was coming in.
Yeah, it's too little, too late. I think I'm gonna be yelling on the next podcast. Give me La Tech 35-27.
35-27, a full TD? Dang. Only 27 points too is crazy. Oh no. How does it happen?
I was thinking about that because I don't think they kick field goals in the second half. I think they might settle for a couple field goals early, maybe be up even 10-7, feeling themselves, maybe 13-7 North Texas, and then it happens. Something goes terribly wrong. Stone Earl pick 6, or something just goes awry.
Real question is, do we see Jace Ruder at quarterback this year? I'm just kidding.
No. Do we see him at another position as a better prop?
Apparently, he's going to be a linebacker, but
Oh wow, follow the
The
follow what's
Bryce
his
Drummond
name?
route.
Bryce Drummond. Yeah, good for him.
That's tough.
All right, there are the picks. There are the picks. Anything else before we go? 40 minutes.
I'm terrified. That's all.
Well, there you go. 6 p.m. Saturday, ESPN Plus. I think we'll be able to do it right after the game. LSU plays at 11, so I should be free by that point.
Cool.
6 p.m. Anybody going to the game in Ruston? Shout out to y'all.
That's
And
honestly like shout out supporting the team, but that's kind of sick.
Shout out to y'all, man. We appreciate y'all because y'all are the same ones listening to this podcast. So
That's true.
don't listen to Colin. Don't listen to Colin. We love.
Well, I mean, I'm just speaking their mind after they're on the plane back from Miami because they're the same people.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all we got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe, a 5-star rating review on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. Follow us on Twitter. We're really gonna pick up the Twitter game moving forward. And as y'all know, during games we live tweet our thoughts throughout the whole time. So yeah, check us out there if you haven't already. And we'll be back on Saturday night to talk to y'all about a North Texas win. The first of many.
You predicted a loss, so I don't want to hear that from you. That's crazy.
Positive thinking, Colin. Positive thinking. Positive thinking. All right. We'll see y'all later.